Hey, what's up? It's a Figure Hunter. Today we're going to look at the training and fitness side of the Huawei GT3. I'm going to produce a number of videos regarding the Huawei GT3 because I think there's a lot to look at about this. And tonight we're just going to look at specifically the training and fitness side of things. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. Lots of good Epix and Phoenix 7 comparisons on the way, and heart rate accuracy of the Huawei GT3. So obviously, the Huawei GT3, as we did in the initial review, is a beautiful watch, and it's got a lot of promise. But if we are in the goal of finding devices that help us functionally train for CrossFit while also functionally serving our life needs, then we want to be able to find something that is both good and good looking and functional, but also definitely useful for training and keeping a track of our overall load over time, our recovery needs, and all the basic things that we would like to be able to accomplish. The Huawei GT3 is a pretty great watch straight out of the box. It's really, really sharp looking, it's affordable, it is functional, and it has a lot of great conceptual things built into it. And tonight we're just going to look at the fitness and training side of the things, because is it an effective as a training watch? Not is it just a sharp looking, Tag Heuer-esque, AMOLED screen watch, but is it functional as a training watch? Because we've seen a lot of watches in the past couple of years that have looked great but failed on the training aspects. So if you look at like the Fossil series of watches, they looked fantastic, AMOLED screen, Wear OS, but they had no training features, no training backbone to them. The Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 or the Galaxy Watch 3 or the Active 2, they all, it was a big pretty screen with a very functional OS, and it didn't have any really effective training functions. So you could just see super simple things. Then you have the release of the Suunto 7, and it was beautiful, and it had training analysis built into it. It was a breakaway from first speed analytics, but it had training aspects to it, but a faulty heart rate sensor and could not connect to a chest strap. I think that was the most sad. And then obviously had a short battery life. Then you have something I tested recently, the Amazfit GTR3, which had promise because it had more heart rate accuracy and it had all the training features. But after more long-term testing, I came to realize the training features were failing because no matter what I did, it was like maxing out all the training features. Load through the roof, aerobic and anaerobic training effect through the roof, and recovery time like 3 days no matter what I did, no matter how long I trained with it. So was not useful besides the fact it didn't connect to a chest strap. So enter the GT3, the Huawei GT3. It has training load tracking so you can see your volume over time and how it compares to your past. It has anaerobic and aerobic training effects. So it'll spot check on a workout how much like anaerobic exertion you put in and how much aerobic exertion you put in. And it has recovery time features. So the level of exertion of one workout and how long should you wait before exerting yourself at a high level for the next workout. Now, all of these are super similar to Garmin's platform and Garmin's output and Garmin's analytics, as well as Coros's analytics. They follow the same trends and the same tracking. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare it to Garmin. And Garmin is really the industry leader on training load tracking, aerobic training effect, anaerobic training effect, and recovery time. And we're going to compare how it looks side by side with one of the industry leaders. And I would say Garmin is an industry leader simply and solely because they bought a company that just focused on tracking heart rate, intensity, tracking workouts to evaluate and output those things. And I have always felt in personal use, because a lot of this might be a little bit subjective, is in personal use, the Garmin platform is the most accurate when it comes to my evaluation of an aerobic impact from a workout, an anaerobic impact from a workout, a recovery time, hard workout to next hard workout, as well as the training load over time. So we're going to compare it to Garmin and see, does it live up? Does it live up? So the main thing we're going to look at is one of the simple conceptual things is if it has training features, that's great, but can it get accurate information to evaluate and utilize those training features? And that all comes down to heart rate accuracy. And one of the unique things about the GT3, why I sought to get it from a friend in Europe, is that it has to be able to connect to a chest strap. Too many of the optical heart rate sensors are failing when doing a CrossFit workout specifically, and that's all that we're looking really to primarily test is the impact of device usefulness when tracking and training your CrossFit and high intensity interval. So there's still a lot to test on the heart rate accuracy here, but because it connects to a chest strap, we can really evaluate the training effect value and the training load values over time. So the one thing about it is it only connects to 2 chest straps. It connects to the Polar H7 as well as the Suunto Smart Belt or Smart Sensor. These are very specific. I actually first bought a used Polar H7. It has a terrible attachment place for where the battery goes in. It strips out super easily. I barely could get the new battery in to be able to use it, and then it turned out to be a dud on the H7. So I found another used H7. Had the same problem with changing and putting in a brand new battery, so I wanted it to be accurate and fully up to date. And it still had problems for some reason, and fully and accurately, because I'm comparing it to other heart rate sensors that are not optical based, and so it still looked like it was failing. So on a whim, I went on to bid on the Suunto Smart Sensor, and I didn't know, because Huawei's site says the Suunto Smart Sensor Belt, and there was a version of Suunto that had something called the Suunto Smart Belt or Suunto Smart Sensor Belt, and this is only the Suunto Sensor Suunto Smart Sensor. So I was like, I don't even know it's going to work, but I wanted on eBay for a cheap price. And I have got to say, number one, you can connect the Huawei GT3 to a Suunto Smart Sensor, and it doesn't have to have belt in the title on the packaging. That's just something I want to clear up with this video. But this Suunto Smart Sensor is awesome. I happen to get a new one. The puck is super tiny. The band is high quality. It's actually got a clasp protector, which is just sort of a side thing, but the quality of the feel of the band is fantastic. You know, I mean, you can still get these, I believe, new on Amazon, but with a lot of more expense to them. But this has been great. This is something I might want to use. It's only one Bluetooth connection. It doesn't do ANT+, can't do multiple Bluetooth, so it's not as functional for reviewing multiple devices, but this is a great sensor just flat out. If I was only looking at one sensor, one connection, because it's just got a lower profile, and I'll show you in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze the training. So now we have Polar H10 tracking the heart rate accuracy to the Garmin to get its training effect, and we have the Suunto Smart Sensor tracking the heart rate accuracy to the Huawei GT3 to get its training accuracy and compare the results. We're going to compare the results, you know, Huawei GT3 versus the Garmin platform, both using a chest strap, on the training, the aerobic training effect, the anaerobic training effect, and the estimated recovery time from one hard workout to the next. And then we're going to look at it, you know, we're also going to look at how it looks on the watch. So first we're going to look at how it looks on the watch, how it looks on the app, just the overall information that it gives you from a training result, training workout. And then we're going to look at the results when it compares one to the other. We'll look at some charts, and then we'll come back together. All right, so here you have it with the 2 chest straps built alongside it. We're actually going to look at those first, just to show you sort of hands-on. We're going to start with the junker. Polar is my favorite heart rate sensor company, but this was just not a great one. So the biggest thing is that this is, you know, you're supposed to use, I think a quarter is the perfect size, and it just strips out. It is super finicky, and it is hard to get back in, hard to get out. It is problematic. As soon as it strips out, what are you going to do? You're basically done for. And this is the second sensor I've had that is not accurate. So it actually kept up with like half of a workout, and it did keep up with the more intense part of the workout, but on the lifting portion, it didn't keep up at all. It was spiking super high. And the first heart rate sensor I had, and obviously these are both 2 used devices, whatever, it was all over the place. So not really trustworthy. Don't get this one if you're going to go buy a heart rate sensor for the GT3. So this is the Suunto, and it feels fantastic. Now, it doesn't have a lot of contact area when you're looking for the sensor, but it does have this nice little, I mean, this is a silly thing, but a lot of them didn't come with this. So when you strap it in, it's got this to protect so you don't feel the buckle on your skin. And then this is the coolest little puck. It is super fantastic, and it just used a simple, I think it's CR2025, which a lot of them use. It snaps in really smoothly and easily, and off to the races. If you were to compare it just in the overall profile, you can see that it's a lot thinner because, you know, imagine the strap's still coming out here. This is a lot thicker, but I just love the quality of the feel, the fabric, and obviously the results are great and the overall sensor is great. So I just had to share that there because if you're looking at the GT3, you have to look at a chest strap if you're doing CrossFit or high intensity interval training. So this is the GT3. It has been really great just to use the last few days, and I'm going to do a review on that specifically. I don't know, I don't even know when I charged this last. Now, it sat in my gym bag for like 5 or 7 days, and I only used it for workouts and then would throw it back in the gym bag, so it kind of shuts down a little bit when you do that. And it's still got 12%, I don't know how long it's going to use, how much battery life it's going to last, but I know if I put my Apple Watch in the bag for more than a day and a half or 2 days, even if I'm not using it, it is draining all the time. So when you go to look, this is actually a nifty screen because you can jump straight into one of these features, but I just sort of have it set to be a button. Not that button, but you can actually set it to be a button where you see your workout status. Now this is where you get training load concepts. Now running ability index, I don't even know how you activate that, so we're not looking at that. Here's the training load, and we'll look at it on the app when you look at the training load relative to the Garmin platform in a second, but this is actually close to the Garmin platform. We'll look at some statistics in a second, but this looks great, and it has tracked great. It has tracked very similar to Garmin's. Then you have the recovery time. This is what appears on the watch. I have not been able to find on the app anywhere you can see the training load or your history over time or your recovery over time. So I think it only lives on the watch, which is kind of a bummer and kind of a big deal. Your VO2 max, now that has not been accurate because I'm not a runner and I'm not a professional. That is such a joke. I do like 10-minute, 9-minute mile runs, 9 minutes per mile run. But the recovery time has been great. We're going to look at the stats on that. But this is just what you see in the watch. If you go into a workout and you want to see what you're going to see after the workout, take the workout from today, you can see a bunch of really useful information as it relates to fitness and training. That's the heart rate graph tracked with the Suunto Smart Sensor, which is spot on with the chest strap, the H10. You can see the areas, I have it all sort of lined up the same. And here's the training stress. It was, I did burn out a lot more at the end, like I really redlined. So I do think there was more attributable value to aerobic. We're going to look at again this in a second compared to Garmin, and 2.5 on the aerobic training effect, and then the recovery time was originally 29 hours, and then we can see right now that it's down to 23 hours. So you kind of cool, you can see your history and time of what your recovery time is now with a countdown clock, and if you go into the workout status, you can see a recovery time that was logged at that time, and Garmin doesn't yet offer that. So let's look at the app, then let's talk about the results. All right, so this is the platform. You can see, you can jump right into like how many steps, things like that in the basic health landing page. And then you have your workout history, but nowhere on here is the training load. And there was supposed to be some place like deep in the settings that you might be able to access it. Settings, but it just is not there. Training load built into. So we saw what we're gonna see on the training load features on the watch only. And if you were to compare what we just saw with it being like 450 or something like that, here it's saying 505. So great accuracy when it comes. And it looks very similar to the graph that I'm getting on the exercise loads chart. But the 7-day load is about the same number as it is on the Garmin system, and this is a very advanced platform, very advanced metrics. So you can also see what each workout looks like when it comes to the details. I do think this is a CrossFit, this is a great CrossFit results. I mean, if you were a runner, you can get a bunch of running stats. Don't look at my stats because they're terrible. So you can get all sorts of cool stuff. It'll show you, it'll do like you can watch your course, it does all sorts of cool things there, so it actually is very functional from running. But I do love that when you use the CrossFit sports profile, it gives you just pure results. The aerobic training effect, the anaerobic training effect, and your recovery time. And that recovery time of 29 hours is already counting down like we just saw. And then if you want to look at the chart, you can see the chart. If I touch on the chart, I can also turn it sideways and and I can see what my heart rate was at different times. I can scan across it, all of those good things. But in simple summary, I think this is all the primary information you actually need. It just makes no sense that they don't include the training load history here in any form or fashion. Doesn't make any sense. So let's look at the results, and then we'll have it. This is just we're gonna look at the training effect from the aerobic evaluation, the training effect on the anaerobic evaluation. This is what each of the watches gave in the results at the end of the workout. And then we're gonna look at the recovery time. So this is one workout at a time, comparing the Huawei GT, not 4, good Lord, to Huawei GT3 versus the Garmin. I apologize, that typo is probably gonna appear. And then we're gonna look at charts at how it looks across time. So you can see these numbers are relatively similar. This is the aerobic training effect. And you can see that they're somewhat within a variable factor of, 10 or 20%. And then you have the anaerobic training effect. And the Huawei GT3, not 4, is definitely giving a higher value to training effect for the anaerobic capacity. So I'll watch that over time as I continue to test it. And then you have the recovery times. And this is where you have a lot more similarity than I was expecting. Very similar results on the Huawei GT3 versus the Garmin training recovery time from one hard workout to the next. They're actually not bad. So let's look at the charts and see how it looks over time. So the aerobic training effect, the Huawei is in red and the Garmin is in blue. They're both using a chest strap, the exact same heart rate flowing in. So their training results, you can compare more head to head. You can see that they're relatively similar. The Huawei is giving a little less aerobic training effect than Garmin is giving. And in all these workouts, I do continue to feel that Garmin is more accurate for how much time I spent building aerobic capacity versus anaerobic capacity. And then here's where I would disagree more. It's giving a lot more value, especially in the beginning, and maybe we'll watch it over the next week or so to see if it actually starts to stay close together, the numbers stay more close together than what you see here, because it was giving a lot more attributable value to the anaerobic training effect from a workout. And then the recovery times. I mean, this is really promising. This is great because the recovery times are somewhat in line with an industry leader that's using a specialized company to write the algorithms for how to evaluate recovery time from one hard workout to the next based on the heart rate exertion, cardiovascular exertion, and so on. So with that, let's talk. So what do I think? These are super promising results. Again, I'm coming from a place of testing the Amazfit platform and the Amazfit's personal algorithms, what they've driven for aerobic training effect, anaerobic training effect, and recovery time workout to workout. And it was just so far off, I just got a bad taste in my mouth from some of these other companies that are making their own algorithms. I've seen the same thing in Suunto. Now that Suunto is writing their own algorithms, if you actually even test with a chest strap, your recovery time is like half the time of what it feels like it should be and probably should be. But now they have some other training features that are positive on the training load side. So when you look at this impact and you see the training load, the training effect from workout to workout, the recovery time, and the training load building in such a similar way, it gives us great promise. So next what we're going to do is I'm going to do a video, just a day in the life. It's actually going to be 3 days in the life with the Huawei GT3 when compared to the Garmin Epix, because I wanted to sort of look at the health and wellness side, look at more of the overall smartwatch features, and just talk about it more generally when wearing them both side by side. I'm then going to start heart rate accuracy when just wearing the watch on the wrist and doing a CrossFit workout, and last we'll have a full and final review where we'll sort of summarize everything. So if you like this video, please again give it a thumbs up, and please stay tuned for more. There's a lot of great content, a lot of Epix 7 and Phoenix 7, Garmin Epix and Phoenix 7 content coming up, so lots more to stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching. It's the Fit Gear Hunter.